Ooh, yeah, oh. I wanna thank you, Lord, for all you done for me. Thank you, Jesus. I wanna thank you, Lord, for all you done for me. All I wanna do is thank you. All I wanna do is thank you, Jesus. I wanna thank you, Lord, for all you done for me. Thank you, Jesus. I wanna thank you, Lord, for all you done for me. All I wanna do is thank you. For your love is mine. For all you done for me. Thank you, Jesus. I wanna thank you, Lord, for all you done for me.
All right, we're going to get into the book. Let's read the law. If you are new, you got to keep the law. Don't let nobody fool you. Stop watching YouTube. They lying to you. I was listening to some lies on that the other day. I'll point that out in the class as we go through. Let's go to Exodus, the 20th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verses 1. Exodus 20 and verse 1. Go ahead, Jyahawah.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes. 12th chapter, pick it up at verse 13. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
All right, last book in the Bible, Revelations 22. Pick it up at 14. 22 and 14. Revelations 22 and 14. Go ahead.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without a dogs,
Yes.
and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and make it a lie.
All right. So we just took you through the time continuum, past, present, and future. And you don't see nowhere in the script where you don't have to keep the commandments of God. Anybody telling you that, straight up, they just lying to you, trying to take your salvation. Well, welcome to the Israel of God's Bible study class here in Atlanta, Georgia. Praise God. It's good to be home. And good to be in the house of the Lord. Because you could be out there doing some folly, getting yourself cut off. So don't never neglect the house of the Lord. Come fellowship and worship with your brothers and sisters as the Lord has commanded us in these last and evil days. So the title of today's class, brothers and sisters, is The Heirs to the Throne. We got some new equipment, so that's why we don't have the visuals. But as I tell you all the time, don't get too used to the technology. Because when it go out, you go crazy. That's why I was looking strange for a few minutes. So, heirs to the throne. You have to know what's at stake. Why do you come here every Sabbath day? Why you have to discipline yourself? Is because God has given us a promise. And if we do what we're supposed to do, we will be heirs to this throne. Now, we had the throne. We was on top. We had it all. But then we got caught up, and we had to be brought down. So as the rapper say, started from the bottom, now you here. Had to throw that in there for the young folks. Let them know I watch everything. So, the throne is yours. However, if you don't know that, somebody is trying to knock you off, trying to take your spot. We're going to show you that in the class. Also, we're going to show you, well, we can't show it, we're going to read it, clippings from papers that tell you that people know about this throne. Some even say they're sitting on it right now. Okay? Now, as we go through the scriptures, you're going to see that in no time nobody's talking about going to heaven. But that's a prevailing doctrine that's taught every day, and most people believe that. So, without further ado, let's go to the script. Let's deal with it. Let's go to Acts chapter 1. Acts chapter 1, and we're going to pick it up at verse 6. Acts chapter 1 and verse 6. And listen to what the people tell you in the scriptures, regardless of what somebody might tell you that's standing right in front of your face. I was listening to a brother the other night, and he was telling me that David is from the tribe of Ephraim. That's just how bad it's got. 1 and 6, Acts chapter 1, pick it up at verse 4. Acts chapter 1 and verse 4. Go ahead, my brother.
And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem,
Come on.
but wait for the promise of the Father, which said he, ye have heard of me.
Go ahead.
But
Skip down to verse 6 because I want to get to the point. So they're at Jerusalem because they're doing what they was instructed to do by Jesus the Christ. So go ahead, my brother. Verse 6.
When they therefore were come together,
Yes.
they asked of him, saying,
Come on.
Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?
Now look at what the apostles asked Jesus. At this time, Lord, will you restore the kingdom back to Israel? That's what they asked him. Now, why did they ask him that question? That's what we need to find out. Let's go to Micah chapter 4 and pick it up at verse 8. Obviously, they had been reading the book, or obviously they had been taught. Either way, they knew. Micah chapter 4, pick it up at verse 1, then we're going to skip to verse 8. Micah chapter 4, verse 1, skip to 8. Micah chapter 4, verse 1, and skip to 8. Go ahead.
But in the last days it shall come to pass
Come on.
that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains.
What else?
And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it.
So the mountain of the Lord is going to be in the top of all mountains. Skip down to verses 8, and what do he say, my brother?
And thou,
Yes.
O tower of the flock,
Come on.
the stronghold of the daughter of Zion.
Well, who is the daughter of Zion? That be you, don't it? What do he say, brother?
Unto thee, shall it come, even the first dominion. The kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem.
What the kingdom going to come to? The daughter of Jerusalem.
Yes.
Who would that be? Israel. So that's why they asked him, at this time, will you restore the kingdom back to us, Lord? And then if you read on, he tell them it's not for you to know right now. But that's who it's supposed to come back to. The house of Israel and the house of Judah. Now, let's start off with this man. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and 26. Genesis chapter 1 and 26. Genesis chapter 1 and 26. Just to show you how far we have fallen. Genesis 1 and 26. 1 and 26. Go ahead, Jyahawah.
And God said,
Yes.
let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Come on.
So God created man in his own image.
Yes.
In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Go ahead.
And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
So this man is supposed to have control over everything that is on this planet. That's a lot of power, ain't it? Let's go to Genesis chapter 17. Genesis chapter 17. Let me show you something. What the Lord told our fathers, Abraham. Genesis 17. Genesis 17. So remember now, Israel asked him when the kingdom going to come back to them, right? And God told you in Genesis that you're supposed to have dominion or power over everything that's on this earth. So he's been telling you about the kingdom since Genesis. Skip down to, what I say, 17 and 1?
Yes.
Genesis 17 and 1. Come on, my brother.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9,
Yes.
the Lord appealed to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God.
Come on.
Walk before me and be thou perfect.
What do you say?
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. He said, I'm going to make a covenant with you. Well, what is the covenant? That's a question. Must we go to Exodus 34 and 27 and read what the covenant is? I think we need to, I guess. Let's go to Exodus 34 and read it. Hold your finger there. Hold your finger there, and we're going to go to Exodus 34 and 28. Exodus 34 and 28. We're coming back to Genesis 17 because we got to get the answer, because we got people getting baptized today. They need to know what the covenant is.
That's right.
And the house of Israel need to know what the covenant is. So when somebody asks you a question, you'll be able to give them a what? An answer. According to the scriptures, not what you think, not what you feel, not what you read out of some book, but the scriptures. Exodus 34, 28. Exodus 34 and 28. Come on, my brother.
And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights.
Yes.
He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments.
So what is the covenant? Well, wait a minute now. I thought the commandments came with Moses. But God just told Abraham that I'm going to make a what? A covenant with you. So you always had to keep the what? Now let's go back to Genesis, where we stopped. Read verse 2 again. To the law and to the testimony, if they don't speak according to this, ain't no truth in them. You make them read it to you. Don't let them talk to you for 15 minutes. 2. Genesis 17, verse 2. Go ahead.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly.
Come on.
And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
What else?
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee.
Wait a minute, what's supposed to come out in Abraham? Is that one or plural? Ain't that something? Go ahead.
7. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, in their generations, for an everlasting covenant.
So the commandments last for how long? So he going to promise Abraham to his seed and the seed after him for everlasting covenant. The covenant is perpetual. It don't stop. It don't have any breaks in it. So you are the children and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, thus making you the people that come out of Abraham, kings. Read on what he say.
To be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee.
Skip down to verse 16 and let's deal with the sisters. Come on.
And I will bless her.
And I will bless her.
And give
Wait a
thee.
minute, it's 15, I'm sorry. 15. Skip to 15 and go ahead.
And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife,
Yes.
thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be.
Go ahead.
And I will bless her.
Yes.
And give thee a son also of her.
Wait a minute, so who going to give the son to her?
The Lord.
Where the children come from? Did they come
Lord.
from you? Or you just doing some exercise? You might want to highlight that. What'd he say?
Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of peoples shall be of her.
Wait a minute, who coming out of Sarah? Kings of people. So every time you have a child, sisters, who's coming out? Kings of people are coming out of you. Ain't that something? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to Peter. You said, well, Brother Baca, that was the Old Testament. We're under grace. Let's go to Peter, 1 Peter chapter 3. See, we're talking about royalty here. The Lord doesn't set us up. 1 Peter chapter 3, pick it up at verse 1. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. You don't have to walk around with your head down. You can look up. Contrary to popular belief, you are somebody. Now you know who you are and what you're producing. But somebody will get in the way because they know that you hold the power and you bring forth the kings and the queens. Never underestimate your opponent. 1 Peter chapter 3 and 1. Come on, Jyahawah.
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be warned by the conversation of the wives.
Go ahead.
While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing of gold, and of putting on of apparel.
Well, who plait their hair? See, the Lord put little jewels in there. If you just pay attention to what you read, he'll let you know who you are. Who plait their hair? House of Israel, don't they? That's New Testament. What do you say, brother?
But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit.
Go ahead.
Which is in the sight of God of great price.
What do you say?
For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
What do you say?
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are.
Wait a minute. So you are the daughters of who? Sarah.
Yeah.
So Sarah, God told her that kings was going to come out of her, didn't he?
Yeah.
So if you the daughters, then what's coming out of you? I know it's a hard pill to swallow. The TV got you. But we're going to read it to you anyway. Because we're people that's been beat down. What do you say, brother?
As long as ye do well.
As long as you do well.
And are not afraid with any amazement.
Come on.
Likewise, ye husbands.
Yes.
Dwell with them according to knowledge.
So you're supposed to deal with your wife according to knowledge, man. You drop that knowledge on her. And the children. She looking for Superman. So you got to have some knowledge when you're dealing with her. What the book say? Come on.
Giving honor unto the wife.
Yes.
As unto the weaker vessel.
Yes.
And as being heirs.
Wait a minute. What you going to be heirs to?
Yes.
What you going to be heirs to? What the book say? Finish it.
As of being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
All right. Now, let's go get a running tab. Let's go see what Jesus had to go through. And whatever he had to go through, that's what you're going to have to go through. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9 and pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah chapter 9. We're going to show it to you. Just hang in there with us. We're going to bring it to you. Isaiah chapter 9, pick it up at verse 6. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 6. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 6. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 6. When you get there, Jyahawah, read it, my brother.
For unto us
Yes.
a child is born.
Come on.
Unto us a son is given.
Come on.
And the government shall be upon his shoulder.
What it say?
And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
Notice that he called the prince. What do you say, brother?
Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end.
What's going to happen?
Upon the throne of David.
Wait a minute. So he going to sit upon the throne of who? What do you say, brother?
And upon his kingdom
Come
to
on.
order it.
Come on.
And to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever.
Go ahead.
The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
Didn't we just read in Genesis that out of Sarah, kings going to come out of her? Now we're reading about the master. Let's flip back to Isaiah chapter 7. Isaiah chapter 7, pick it up at verse 12. Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 12. Because you got some people out there saying there is no immaculate conception. You got some Hebrews that's teaching that. They said Jesus was just cat out of Judah, and he was a revolutionary. They say the Romans put that in there where it talks about a virgin birth. But you reading it out the book. Here we go. 7, and pick it up at verses 14. Romans 7 and 12. Romans 7 and 12.
Isaiah.
Chapter 7,
Right.
verse 12.
All right.
Go ahead.
But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord.
Come on.
And he said, hear ye now, O house of David.
So he's talking to the house of David. He's not talking to the house of Ephraim, is he? Go ahead.
Is it a small thing for you to weary men?
Come on.
But will ye weary my God also?
Go ahead.
Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign.
Yes.
Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
So a virgin going to conceive, and she going to bear a son and call his name Emmanuel. Well, what is a virgin? A woman that don't know a man, right? Unless we redefine that. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 2. Matthew chapter 2. Because remember, I told you that there's others that are out here that understand this, and they'll try to knock you off. So here we go. Matthew chapter 2, pick it up at verse 1. Matthew chapter 2 and verse 1. Matthew chapter 2 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem.
What'd he say?
Saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews?
Wait a minute now. Sarah's supposed to bear what? Here you go. What'd he say?
For we have seen his star in the east,
Yes.
and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
Skip down to 7. What'd he say?
Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
Skip down to 13, and what'd he say?
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
So Herod is looking for the child to do what? To kill him.
Yes.
Because he understands that this child is going to take over the throne.
Yes.
Or he going to be heir to the throne. So he said, I'm going to knock him off so that I can continue to reign. Now, let's go to Luke chapter 1 and 26. 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 1 and 26. Go ahead, my brother.
And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God into a city of Galilee named Nazareth.
Come on.
To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph.
What house?
Of the house of David, and the virgin name was Mary.
Wait a minute. It didn't say the house of Ephraim, did it? It said the house of David. So what is this cat talking about? What did he say, brother?
And the angel came unto her and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women.
So people go around and quote that, right? They say, how you doing? I'm blessed and highly favored. Well, the daughters of Sarah can say that now, can't you?
Yes.
Because what comes out of you? King. What did he say, brother?
And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying.
Yes.
And cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be.
What did he say?
And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus.
Yes.
He shall be great.
Come on.
And shall be called the Son of the Highest.
What else?
And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
What else?
And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. And of his kingdom there shall be no end.
Now you know why the apostles asked, is the kingdom going to come back to Israel? Because they understood that the kingdom must return to Jerusalem or Zion. Because that's where the kings are. That's going to run the planet. Nobody has went to heaven yet. Now, let's go to John. St. John chapter 1 and pick it up at verse 10. Now, not everybody's going to get it. We're going to show that to you right here. Only the ones that believe. St. John chapter 1, pick it up at verse 10. St. John's 1 and 10. Make sure that you believe. St. John 1 and 10. Go ahead, my brother.
He was in the world.
Yes.
And the world was made by him.
Come on.
And the world knew him not.
What else?
He came unto his own.
He came to who?
His own.
He came to his own first. So when you go out and you preach that gospel, you're supposed to go to who first? House of Israel. What'd he say?
And his own received him not.
Yes.
But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God.
Yes.
Even to them that believe on his name.
Uh-oh. We got a problem, don't we? A lot of people don't believe on the what? What is the name? You sure? It's not Jyahawah. It's not Yahushua. It's not Yahweh. That's the name given to you in your what? Captivity, right? That's the one you use, right? Okay, good stuff. All right, so pay attention to what you read in Israel. So now, that was verse 12?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to Luke chapter 20, pick it up at verse 9. So if you don't believe in the name that was given, because the rest of the name was given to you by somebody too, you just have to find out who they was given to you by. 20 and 9. 20 and 9. Because he said he came into his own, and his own did not receive him. So when you go out and you talk to the people and they don't receive you, that ain't nothing new, is it? What do you say, brother? 20 and 9. Luke 20 and 9. Go ahead.
Then began he to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard and led it forth to husbandmen and went into a far country for a long time.
Go ahead.
And at the season he sent a servant to the husbandmen that they should give him of the fruit of the vineyard.
Go ahead.
But the husbandmen beat him and sent him away empty.
Go ahead.
And again he sent another servant, and they beat him also and entreated him shamefully and sent him away empty.
So every time he sent somebody to the vineyard to deal with the fruit there, they get what? Beat down. Be prepared to get beat down, Israel. What did he say, brother?
And again,
yes,
he sent a third, and they wounded him also and cast him out.
Go ahead.
Then saith the Lord to the vineyard, what shall I do? I will send my beloved son. It may be they will reverence him when they see him.
So he said, let me send my son, and maybe they'll pay some attention to him when they see him. What happened to him? Go ahead.
But when the husbandmen saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, this is the heir.
This is the who?
What
he say?
Come, let us kill him.
So not only will the people on the outside kill the heirs, but people inside the house of Israel will kill you too. Ain't that something? What did he say, brother?
That the inheritance may be ours.
That the inheritance may be ours. Well, we got to find out what the inheritance is that is the reason why they wanted to kill him so bad. So let's go to Hebrews chapter 1. Let's go find out what the inheritance is. Hebrews chapter 1 and pick it up at verse 1. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1. Y'all all right, Israel? All right, good stuff. Hebrews chapter 1 and 1. We got to find out what the inheritance is, because you need to know. What did he say, brother? Hebrews 1 and 1. Hebrews 1 and 1. Go ahead.
God,
yes,
who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets, having these last days spoken unto us by his Son.
Ain't that what Luke just told you? I'm going to send my son. What did he say, brother?
Whom he have appointed heir of all things.
Oh, how many things?
All things.
So once you the heir, you get what? Ain't that what Genesis chapter 1 told you? What did he say, brother?
By whom also he made the world.
All right. Now, let's go to the Acts chapter 3 and 13. Acts 3 and 13, because remember we read in Isaiah where he said he was called the Prince of Peace. So let's go to Acts. There's a reason why they call him the Prince. We're going to show you that too. Not only him being a son of God, but it has something to do with the name too. Acts 3 and 13. Acts 3 and 13. Acts 3 and 13. What did he say, brother?
The God of Abraham and of Isaac
Yes.
and of Jacob, the God of our fathers, have glorified his Son Jesus,
Yes.
whom he delivered up and denied him in the presence of Pilate when he was determined to let him go.
What did he say?
But ye denied the Holy One and the just,
Yes.
and desired a murderer to be granted unto you.
So if we got a choice between a good man and a bad man, which one we going to choose? The bad man. That's still happening today. Sisters, if you got a choice between the good man and the bad man, you're going to choose the bad one. I'm going to answer the question for you because I don't want you lying on the Sabbath day. Think about it. You're going to do it. Cat walking up to you, pants hanging down, looking crazy. You like him. Cat got some sense talking to you with some knowledge. You don't like him, he'll square. You get that from your forefathers. That ain't nothing new. Same way with the dude. Didn't let you off the hook neither. She looking good. She ain't revealing a whole lot of stuff. Oh, I don't know about her. She half naked. You run with her. So it hadn't stopped. It's still going on right now. Just had to bring it down to 2022. So, where we stop at, Jyahawah?
Finish 14.
Pick it up at 14 at the top. Go ahead.
But ye denied the Holy One and the just, and desired a murderer to be granted unto you,
What did he say?
and killed the Prince of Life.
And they killed the Prince of Life. Ain't that what he gave them a parable about? What did he say, brother?
Whom God have raised from the dead, whereof we are witnesses.
Well, we are witnesses. So Jesus was the heir of all things. Let's go see who else was given that too. Let's go to Romans chapter 13. People are always in Romans. Well, let's read Romans. Romans chapter 4, pick it up at verse 3. Romans chapter 4 and verse 3. Romans chapter 4, verse 3, then we're going to skip down to verse 11. Romans chapter 4 and verse 3. Romans chapter 4 and verse 3. Go ahead.
For what saith the scripture?
Yes.
Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness.
So Abraham believed God. God told him to leave where he was and go to another land. He packed up his stuff and left. So he believed God. He had faith in God. That ain't nothing new. Skip down to verse 11 and go ahead.
And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe.
Go ahead.
Though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also.
What else?
And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only.
Oh, so he the father, not of only the ones that are circumcised. What did he say?
But who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised.
Wait a minute. Well, then if somebody come here and read this to you, then you got to go back and see what steps he walked in. Didn't he keep the commandments?
Yeah.
So Paul ain't making something up. All you got to do is go back and read what Abraham did and question them on that. But if you ain't read the prophets and the law, you stuck. What did he say, brother?
13.
Yes.
For the promise that he should be the heir of the world.
Wait a minute. He going to be the heir of the what? That includes everything, don't it? If you the heir of the world, that means you running the name. What did he say, brother?
Was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith.
All right. Now, let's go to Galatians chapter 3 and 26. You say, well, where am I in all of this, Brother Hab? Here you go right here. Galatians 3 and 26. 3 and 26. 3 and 26. Well, yeah, 3 and 26. Galatians 3 and 26. And then I got to get something out for you. Pass me that. Galatians 3 and 26. Because it's very important that you know who you are and where you're going and your history. 3 and 26, what do you say, brother?
For ye are all the children of God by faith in Christ Jesus.
What else?
For as many of you as have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ.
Come on.
There's neither Jew nor Greek.
Yes.
There's neither bond nor free.
Come on.
There's neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus.
What do you say?
And if ye be Christ's,
Yes.
then are ye Abraham's seed.
So if you Christ, then are you Abraham's seed? And what else, Jyahawah?
And heirs according to the promise.
And heirs according to the promise. Didn't you just read what God told Abraham, that you're going to be a father of many nations? Didn't you just read in Romans where he said you're going to be an heir of all things? And Jesus Christ is the heir of all things. So if you are of Christ, you're going to be heir of all things. Now, we're going to take a little pivot from the script to give you some real present-day life examples. So I want you to read this, cite your sources and the date and time, and then read that to the people. What did it say?
Latin times, descended from King David of Israel. This was May 1st, 2019.
May 1st, 2019. You must have skipped some of that, but go ahead.
Headed by Queen Elizabeth II, the English monarchy is one of the oldest in the world.
So this is talking about Queen Elizabeth. So when you look over and you see Meghan and Harry, you've been watching them all while they had the baby and all that stuff, right? Let's see what they into. Go ahead.
According to the royal family's official site, its roots can be traced back to the time when William the Conqueror was declared King of England in 1066, and can be traced even still unto the Romans when the Romans invaded Britain in 43 AD. But there are those who believe that Queen Elizabeth's roots can be traced even further than that.
Wait a minute. So they said, well, no, we can trace them further than that. What did he say, Jyahawah?
It is believed
It is believed.
that the royal family roots can be traced back to the royal family of Israel,
Uh-oh.
and that her
Wait a
majesty...
minute. Hold on. Let them digest that. Notice that it's called the United Kingdom. Taking the house of Israel and the house of Judah and putting them under one banner, like the script say. But they say, read that from the beginning again. Pick that up again. I want to make sure they get this. What did he say?
But there are those who believe that Queen Elizabeth's root can be traced even further than that. It is believed that the royal family's roots can be traced back to the royal family of Israel, and that her majesty is actually a descendant of King David, the psalmist.
There you go. So now when you glued to the TV and you looking at Meghan and Harry, they say they you. Because Israel is in captivity. Therefore, the kingdom is given to another people, right? Ain't that something? All right, let's go back to
this.
No. Leave that off. Leave that off. They get the point. This is for educational purposes. So, now, let's go to Genesis 32. Because all over the book it told you, it said the prince, right? Genesis chapter 32, and we're going to pick it up at verse 24. Genesis chapter 32 and 24. Do your own research. We just give you some notes, but you dig in it for yourself. Genesis 32, pick it up at verses 24. Genesis 32 and 24. What do you say, brother?
And Jacob was left alone, and thou wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day.
Yes.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me.
What else?
And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob,
But what?
Israel.
What it mean?
For as a prince has thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed.
Wait a minute. So the name of Israel mean that you are a what? A prince.
Yes.
You are the children of God.